Hello everybody, JFM here to give you another video. What video is this? Well, as you can tell from the title, it is my first character description video of Jeff Jefferson, one of the main characters in Jeff and Taylor, my webcomic. So, what am I going to talk about? Well, firstly, I'm going to talk about his story and his personality. And later, near the end of the video, I'll explain how I created him and all the creative juices that were flowing through me when I was making him up, and how he evolved as a character. Well, without further ado, let's begin. Okay, what is or who is Jeff Jefferson? Well, what's the story? Jeff's parents are on a very long vacation due to a midlife crisis. It's like one day his dad is all like, "You know, your mother and I aren't feeling youthful thanks to you kids. So we're going to take a year-long vacation, explore the world, doing something exciting and full of adventure before we turn 40. A whole year without parents? That is something many teenagers would love. Of course, Jeff likes it. He views his parents as dictators, telling him where he can go and can't go, telling him not to stay up late, grounding him for 2 weeks for throwing a tantrum at his own birthday party. You know, being parents. But since they're out of the country for the whole comic series, Jeff's older sister Cindy calls the shots. Jeff is also best friends with Taylor, whom he met in kindergarten. When they first met, they hated each other. You know, Jeff wouldn't let Taylor borrow his blue crayon, and Taylor kept calling him a stupid face. But after a week, they got to know one another and found out, though, that they have a lot in common. They were best friends ever since. The main difference between Jeff and Taylor is that Jeff has a more cynical and realist view of life, and is not superstitious at all. Jeff can walk under ladders, spill salt, and open umbrellas indoor without a care in the world. He is the least out of the two to believe any supernatural occurrences happening anywhere. But as the series progresses, that might change. When it comes to school, Jeff is a pretty good student. Just an average report card of C's, B's, and a few A's. But he is a huge procrastinator, leaving schoolwork and house chores to the last minute. Jeff likes to find an easy way out of things, cutting corners without blatantly cheating off of someone else. When it comes to house chores, Cindy always makes Jeff dust the house, and even he finds shortcuts to that. Jeff wipes off the dust around the objects on the coffee table. He doesn't have the extra seconds to, I don't know, lift the centerpiece to wipe the dust under it. Jeff really hates taking other people's advice and rather prefers to do things his own way. He likes to be himself and doesn't prefer to be anyone else. In fact, he hates joining bandwagons. When teenagers his own age are talking about their new smartphone, he's calling Taylor's house with his portable phone made in the 1990s. Jeff prefers to be original and avoids cliches and clubs because, according to him, they're just there to label people. Jeff isn't shy about sticking up for himself or his friends either. Jeff gets very nervous when he talks to a girl he likes. He's kind of inexperienced like that when it comes to girls. In fact, he never kissed a girl before. In fact, if you want to know more secrets about Jeff, he has a huge crush on a girl named Jane. This cute girl in his math class with braces and a little bow on her head, and he goes to sleep with an extra pillow beside him and pretends it's her. Boys will be boys. What does Jeff like and dislike? Well, he likes to play video games, mostly platform games like Mario, Sonic, Donkey Kong Country, and fighting games like Super Greg Fighter 2. It's funny. Jeff likes video games, but he's never beaten one. He also likes to bother his little sister Maria. It's like a sport to him. Jeff enjoys watching movies with a lot of action, adventure, and comedy, and some science fiction too. Jeff also likes romantic comedies, probably because it might give him advice to how to impress Jane. Well, what does Jeff hate? Well, he hates bees. Hellish things can sting you to death, you know. Losing. He hates being called a loser, so he tries to win at stupid things like foosball. Nature. Jeff's more of an indoor person. You see, he says, if man were meant to be out in the wilderness, he wouldn't have invented shelter. He also hates snow, because if you lived in a town that never snowed, you'll hate it too. He hates dogs. Jeff had a bad experience with a big dog. He'd rather not talk about it. Birds, because they're dumb. He also hates bullies, because in all seriousness, bullies are cowards who hate themselves more than they hate their victims. Homework. Why do schoolwork at home? And crazy people. Jeff hasn't met a lot of crazy people in his life, but he will meet a ton of them in this series. And lastly, I would like to talk about how I created the character. Well, a long time ago when I was in 3rd grade or 4th grade, yes, I wanted to make my own Pokemon series. And since I've played the game, I named my Pokemon character, the guy that was walking around in my blue version. I named him, I named him Jeff. So I decided to make my own series, drawing pictures with that same character, Jeff. And that's how I created him. Jeff was originally a Pokemon trainer. But as soon as I got out of Pokemon, I used Jeff as a character so he can be in his own adventures. That's where I made Taylor, and both Jeff and Taylor were in their own adventures. But throughout the series, Jeff has, throughout my whole early comics and early work, Jeff has evolved from a stupid boy to a less stupid 14-year-old boy, how you see in this comic, Jeff and Taylor. And in fact, that's where I actually thought it would be interesting to make Jeff a middle school student, a 14-year-old, because that is a very awkward period for a lot of kids, middle school, and thought that would be interesting. So I actually fleshed out his character, and there you have it, from Pokemon trainer to average 14-year-old who goes into a lot of very strange misadventures. And it's funny. A lot of you may, from the last Jeff Taylor commercial in this channel, you may have noticed a little catchphrase called "Holy man." Yeah, holy man. Well, that's Jeff's catchphrase that he says once every episode, but I think I'm going to explain how I made it up. Basically, okay, my cousin and I were playing with action figures. And, I think action figures and Bionicles. I was fighting, one of my Bionicles, the green guy, Lua, he was fighting against this other action figure. And he unleashed a huge attack on the action figure, and the action figure guy, I think it was a Predator, I don't know, but I was about to say, "Holy cow." But then my mind wanted to say, "Oh man." And then it fused together. You know how that turns out. You fuse two things together, and then I came up with "Holy Man," and that was strange. So I thought that was funny, and there you have it. Yeah. Well, and that is it for Jeff Jefferson. His character description. I hope you enjoyed this little picture I drew here, and it's awesome. I'm going to do one for each character, and believe me, there's a lot of characters. Alright. Enjoy from out. Peace.